Hello, this is Ken from The Good, the Pod, and the Ugly. We are currently in Season 17, but this week we have a special rerun. We are reposting our Season 14 episode on the Friends of Eddie Coyle, directed by Peter Yates. In Season 17, we are doing 4 films by 4 directors, and we're calling the directors affectionately hacks. Peter Yates is our next one. We just finished up Ron Howard, and Yates being the director of Eddie Coyle and Krull is kind of what got this season idea percolating. So we're reposting the Eddie Coyle episode to get a head start on the 4 films of Peter Yates, beginning next week with Bullitt. So no one told you your life was going to be this way. Your job's a joke. You're broke. Your love life's DOA. It's like you're always stuck in second gear when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. It's the Friends of Eddie Coyle on The Good, the Pod, and the Ugly.
Eddie too.
I'll be there for you. Oh, brother.
That's cinema, baby.
No, Mr. Wilson. I don't have to take that kind of talk from anyone.
That's right, you don't. How about going outside and trying to kick me around?
I'm not supposed to fight with the guests, Mr. Wilson.
I'm not a guest tonight, you yellow bastard. I happen to be an intruder.
Welcome to The Good, the Pod, and the Ugly, a podcast where we usually pair some movies, usually from the same director, actor, whatever. But this week, we're doing, what is it?
We're going one by one.
One by one? So sometimes we'll do a 4x4 where we pick 4 films of a certain director and cover those. But in between seasons, we decided that we would each pick one movie that otherwise we think would never really be grouped in to be covered in another season. And this week is my pick. It's 1973, I want to say. 1973's Peter Yates's Friends of Eddie Coyle, starring Robert Mitchum and
Peter Boyle.
Yeah, the bald guy.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm your host, Jack.
The title's just The Friends of Eddie Coyle, in case anyone gets confused.
Yes.
It's not like that first Columbo episode, which was like Columbo, mystery, inspection. It's just very clean. The Friends of Eddie Coyle. And this is Thomas.
This is Ken.
And I'm Ryan.
First off, Jack, I want to know why you picked the Friends of Eddie Coyle. Of all the movies in the world that we would never talk about, what made you want to revisit this one?
I was looking through the movies that we own already so that we wouldn't have to pay for. And I saw Friends of Eddie Coyle and I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. And I've also read the book, and I'm a huge fan of the book and George V. Higgins as an author.
You've read the book more than once. How many times have you read it?
Twice, which is more than once. Good
and
math.
had you seen the movie before?
I had, yes. This is my second watch.
All right.
Mine too.
Thomas and Ryan?
Yeah, what's your experience with this movie?
I just have one watch.
Okay.
Left arm.
This was my third watch. I'd seen it. Let's see. Ain't It Cool News, actually. Lovely site.
I'm bleeping that out.
The site that shall not be named surfaced this in the early aughts as like a hidden gem. And so I saw it then, and then I watched it again during the pandemic. So that was my third time.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah, this is a book and film that I originally got interested in because I watched Killing Them Softly in the early days of the pandemic, which is a really, really good Andrew Dominik movie. And
based off of Kogan's Trade.
Based on Kogan's Trade, also by George V. Higgins. So George V. Higgins was an attorney general and a professor, and he spent his life in Boston around these types of characters. And you can definitely tell the dialogue is just so rich and weighty, and it feels real. Feels like, someone who actually lived around these types of guys. And so he wrote, I think, 4 crime books in the early 1970s after, including Friends of Eddie Coyle, that all feature a couple of the same characters. So Jackie Cogan, who's played by Brad Pitt in that movie, is in a couple of them. Dylan, the bartender, played by Peter Boyle, is in almost all of them. And so is the man in the hat who orders the hit on Eddie Coyle towards the end of the movie. Spoilers, who is also in Killing Them Softly, played by Richard Jenkins. And in Killing Them Softly, Sam Shepard plays the Dylan character.
Plays the who?
Dylan, the bartender.
Wow.
So there's a little bit of crossover there.
But Cogan's, or Killing Him Softly takes place in New Orleans, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. And it's moved up to, 2012?
2008.
2008. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other story, taking a Boston-centric story and placing it in New Orleans, but that's a different movie. That has to do with taxes and whatnot. Yes. Boston's very expensive to shoot in.
And it's also thematically, Killing Them Softly is so hitting the theme so heavy on American devastation in the heartland during the Great Recession and afterwards.
Yeah. And also it's expensive to shoot in Boston because a Bruins game is not cheap anymore.
It turns out, yeah.
Gas, not cheap. So, I mean, that whole spoiler hit at the end.
Well, and then the bartender, he doesn't do it for free if you want to get something shot.
Yep.
But yeah, the Friends of Eddie Coyle is so Boston-centric with its dialogue and its characters. A lot of the prose in the book, which is very minimal, is just describing the streets that they're driving down.
So it's been a while. Is the book written with Boston accents, or is it just straight leave it up to your imagination?
Thomas, did you read the book?
I did, yeah. I would say no. It's not. They're not Boston accents.
Okay, that's how
it's
I
not.
remember
It's
it.
definitely not written phonetically. It's not like The Color Purple when we covered that book.
Well, that explains why it was so popular.
Yeah, it was a huge success. And in the introduction of the book, if you haven't read the book, if you don't read the book, at least check out the introduction written by Dennis Lehane, also famous Boston crime novelist.
Mystic River.
Shout out. The introduction is amazing. It's as good as anything he's ever written.
It is great. It is worth the price of the book.
Yeah. And
the 40th anniversary edition.
Yeah.
Which you don't have to buy. You could get from the Multnomah County Library.
Shout out. But yeah, he explains a little bit in the introduction how, as he puts it, a book with minimal prose and no heroes, no one to root for, is one of the best crime novels ever written. And yeah, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, he claims that George V. Higgins spent the rest of his career trying to chase the success of this book and trying to top it unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, kind of true. But yeah, you can really see why they would want to make a movie out of this right away.
Well, two other things that Lehane says, I thought you were going to say. I mean, this is, the book is what, like 85% dialogue, which typically for me is a problem. Like I like Donald Barthelme whenever he's just doing a full book on of dialogue, but usually it makes me feel like Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park sequel, where it just feels like a screenplay being written for like barely even a novel. But I think what Lehane says tellingly, and accurately, is in most novels, talk is the salt and the plot is the meal. In the Friends of Eddie Coyle, the talk is the meal. It's also the plot, the characters, the action, the whole shebang.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about Higgins as an author. He has an on writing book, which I'm going to check out, maybe from the Multnomah County Library.
Shout out.
But I don't know if he just wasn't interested in prose or if he just wasn't very good at it, because some of his later stuff, he did a lot of like legal thrillers, Washington, D.C. set stuff in his later part of his career. And a lot of it is very prose heavy, and I don't feel like it's very good. And the prose that is in this book in between the dialogue is very, very minimal. It's like he's sat up, he adjusted his jacket, stuff like that. I don't know if he just wasn't good at it or if he just wasn't interested in it. I think what really fascinated him was the dialogue, and I don't know if he was intentionally trying to craft something where all of the plot is driven by dialogue, or if that's just what he was good at, because he spent so much of his life around these types of authentic Boston criminals that was just what he knew.
Yeah.
And the dialogue in the movie is straight 1-to-1 straight from the book. All
Yeah,
of it.
that makes sense.
But
I
it's
think
trimmed down a lot. I mean, I felt like the book was going to be a little bit more like the movie I was going to watch is going to be more like a Tarantino movie. So because the book is so much dialogue, that dialogue often has nothing to do distinctly or directly with what's going on. It's just somebody talking.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, again, Lehane, the second thing I thought you might have said is, this is another pull quote, the characters here love to talk. They'd probably talk to a chair. And being a Clint Eastwood originating podcast, I thought that was appropriate.
Yeah, well, like the scenes where Dylan is talking to the cop, or the cop, I think he works for the Treasury or something. In the book, those are full chapters where Dylan is just spewing just dialogue about his life and about how miserable it all is. That has nothing to do with the actual plot, and a lot of that is cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, to give you the experience of reading it as well, because when you're reading something, you don't actually see people and you don't hear it in your ears in the same way that you do with movies. I don't need to tell you how reading works, do I? But
you're the Zoomer. Maybe we do.
Okay.
Maybe we need to tell you.
So there was a review. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, wait, what? What's going on with this book? There's no moving picture. I kept tapping it and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So I had to start using my eyeballs the old-fashioned way. Anyhow, way back in 2010, when I was barely even alive, William Landay, who's an author, also a former district attorney who lives in Boston, if I understand correctly, he had a review of playwright Bill Doncaster, who I sent you an image of on the group text. Mm-hmm. He adapted the book into a play in 2010, and his review, I think, is a good way of understanding what the book is like reading it. Mm-hmm. The hard part is compressing the story onto a small stage, especially on a limited budget. The novel includes scenes in cars, a bank robbery, a home invasion, a trashy trailer home, a supermarket parking lot, a Bruins game at Boston Garden. Worse, in the book, the plot itself is shadowy. Higgins doesn't spell out what's happening to Eddie. He lets the dialogue swirl around and around, and is up to the reader to piece together the story, just as it is up to Eddie. On first reading, the book can be confusing. Obviously, that won't work on stage. And so having read the book first, I was like, how is this going to be realized onto the screen?
Yeah. Another interesting thing that I only realized on my second reading is that Eddie Coyle really isn't in it all that much. Especially the first half of the book, he's only referred to as the stocky man. They don't even refer to him as by name. Wow. And most of especially the first half of the book, is other characters talking about Eddie Coyle. And yeah, it can be pretty confusing.
Fascinating. Not knowing anything about how the book was written beforehand, I was very surprised at the way the dialogue was. Not because it was, we've seen so many movies since do the Boston accent and a lot of the slang and stuff, but it became clear to me watching the film that these guys are all using this coded language and this criminal slang to talk about all the shit that they're pulling and trying to get away with. But they are, and presumably you do that to avoid saying anything out in the open where someone like a cop might hear you, or where someone could testify against you on the record saying he definitely ordered me to do this at this time.
Yeah.
That is also absurd because every single fucking guy in this movie is talking to the cops. So yeah. They spend all their time meeting in these weird places and talking in coded language about what they're doing and not doing. And then they're all running back to this cop and telling him everything that everybody else is feeling. So that really struck out to me regarding the language, which is wonderful. I mean, I can see how it could be confusing on the page given the circumstances, but the dialogue in this movie.
And that's the thing that Dennis Lehane says in the introduction, is that the title is a joke because Eddie Coyle doesn't have any friends.
Right.
And then at the end of the introduction, he says, well, he's gained some friends by the end of the book, which is the legion of readers who consider him one of the greatest tragic anti-heroes by the end. And Ryan, I saw in your Letterboxd review that you said that it got to you, and by the end you really felt bad for this guy.
Yeah, I don't think I had a strong emotional reaction the first time I saw it, besides it being really cool. And I saw it during the pandemic around the same time as Blue Collar and a bunch of other noir movies. And so I think I kind of lost track of the ending.
You used the N-word appropriately?
I've been trying noir.
Wow, you fucked it up again, man. And I derailed you. Some apologies.
No, you're good. So I had actually forgotten how this movie ended. For some reason, I did not remember the Bruins game and pretty much anything afterwards. And yeah, by the end, even though Eddie is a shitty guy and a criminal and not particularly good at anything, I was hoping that one of the twists of this movie was that he had a secret plot going against all these dudes, and he was going to pull out the gun at the end and murder Peter Boyle and be off on his way. And of course, none of that happens. And it was, it's devastating because he's like so many people, he's just a middleman caught in the grinding gears.
He's collateral damage.
Yeah. So let's shift and talk a little bit more, I guess, about the movie itself or the creation of the movie, because this is 1973. That's going to be the year of High Plains Drifter, Breezy, and Magnum of Force from Clint.
Wow.
We covered on the podcast. We also covered Torso, the Sergio Martino film.
The first slasher film, according to both Eric and Joe Bob Briggs.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, the book would come out in 70, and then 3 years later, the movie, which is the same timeline for, I think, what helps contextualize this film and why it might have done very well, but also why it's appreciated more since.
Mm-hmm.
So that three-year turnaround's the same that you would have for Mario Puzo's The Godfather, which was written and came out but published in 69. It came out in 72. So just 1 year before. And it almost feels like this movie could be a reaction to it. Also, for context, 1970 was the year that Christopher Nolan was born.
And your podcast co-creator, Ken Krull.
Yes, and that would be about 30 years before Thomas and I were born. Yeah, so I don't know anything about like the success of this movie or the reactions when it came out, because it's sort of talked about as like an underrated movie, or like Ryan said, like a hidden gem. And it definitely doesn't have that legacy that some of those other classic early 70s crime movies have that have lived on in pop culture. And I don't know why that is, if it's just the tone of the movie, how much of a downward spiral and just kind of quiet and depressing it is, or what.
I think this is exactly the kind of movie that the entire 1980s was a reaction to in Hollywood.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of these movies got just tilled under the soil, only to be rediscovered in the late 90s and early aughts because of the indie revival that was going on.
I thought it was interesting of it being labeled as a neo-noir. But I really see this as a continuation of what, the noir movies were in the 50s, because it's about lower class people. It's about a world that we usually don't see in movies. It's about economic anxiety. So I think of it as a continuation. And what Ryan was just saying really struck me, because the 80s, when we had that neo-noir renaissance, they were all kind of pastiches
and
of earlier stories.
And
instead of like of its time, specifically of its time, and about these people, it was more about making a modern twist on Double Indemnity,
Right.
Yeah, or Breathless.
The all of the period stuff from the 80s, as Jenny likes to put it, not being a fan of 80s fashion, you can always tell, like, oh, this is the 1940s as envisioned by cokeheads in the 1980s. Authenticity is not a high concern for the Hollywood revival stuff that's going on in the 80s. It's all about putting a new wave spin on it and shit. I did a little bit of research on our friend Eddie Coyle himself, Mr. Bob Mitchum. Bobby.
Shout out.
So just to unpack Robert a little bit, I think this is the 9th film of his I've seen, and of all of like the lesser known Hollywood actors of this era, for any of the listener out there wants to take a pursuit down the Robert Mitchum trail. He's just amazing. Everything he's in is great. He's always genuine and rowdy. So Mitchum is like the exact kind of actor that they don't really make anymore. He came of age during the Depression on the East Coast. Because of the Depression and his rowdiness, he was kicked out of 4 schools, I think, before the age of 15.
Damn.
And then he turns 14 in the middle of the Depression. And so he leaves home and goes and does odd jobs. He goes down south. He gets put in an actual chain gang for fighting. Then he makes his way out to California, where his older sister has been struggling as an actress kind of on the outskirts of Hollywood. They're in Long Beach. And his pretty large Scots-Irish family is all shoved in one small apartment with his sister and her husband in Long Beach. Even though he gets some exposure to Hollywood in the late 30s and early 40s, it seems like he doesn't want to become an actor because he's always going in. He gets a job during World War II in the Lockheed Martin factory, even though he's already had a few bit roles in Hollywood. And he's always going and doing something else. I should mention very briefly that one of the reasons he's so awesome is that nose, which was broken in his short stint as a professional fighter in his late teen years.
Damn.
And he only quit fighting because he went nearly blind after a really bad punch.
Really good punch.
A really good punch, I would say, yeah. Yeah, so he backs into making movies after he has some trouble working at Lockheed Martin. He's on the graveyard shift, and exposure to the chemicals in the airplane manufacturing process is giving him problems that also may, in hindsight, be related to the boxing from some of the symptoms that he's displaying. And it's only then that he starts looking for work in acting. And he almost immediately gets jobs in acting. So it's really weird that he kind of avoided this path, maybe because he thought it was not very tough. To go very quickly through the 40s and 50s, he became a Western supporting character and then one of the first noir leading men. What is it? Out of the Past is like the very iconic noir movies, and he leads that one. In the late 40s, he gets busted for smoking weed with one of his female co-stars, a scene that is recreated in LA Confidential with a young, smooth actor who actually looks quite a bit like young Mitchum. Unlike the character in LA Confidential, whose life takes a terrible turn after getting busted for weed, Mitchum actually becomes more popular with the audience. And so Hollywood leans into him as the bad boy, and his next movie is his best performing film to date. And then he's just off to the races. And
what was that movie?
Night of the Hunter.
No, it wasn't. Night of the Hunter was actually.
We almost covered that.
We're still gonna cover Night of the Hunter.
Rachel
someday for
and the
Christmas.
Stranger was Rachel and the Stranger, which was released in 1948. And
did he play Rachel or the Stranger?
He's the Stranger.
Okay.
Loretta Young is Rachel, and William Holden is another dude vying for Rachel's affections. Yeah, that sounds like it might be a good one.
Holden and Mitchum?
That's his highest grossing film?
No, that is. He was expected to become a box office failure after the marijuana arrest, but his next film became his highest grossing film to date.
You think he might do something better soon?
Yeah.
He just kept going higher and higher after that.
Yeah, the audience was like, I want this
to that point. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were saying to today, which I don't think he's going to be making much more film.
And he was an alcoholic, right?
Oh yeah, one of the things that makes him unique is he is the dude you see on screen. He's fighting and fucking and drinking and doing drugs like his whole life. So by the time, to Ken's point over the text, by the time he's in Eddie Coyle at 51, he looks like he's 65. Like he just looks like he is. And he looks like he's about to die from exhaustion, before anybody fucks him up. And then just to wrap it up, Mitchum is probably best known now for Night of the Hunter. which Thomas mentioned, Charles Laughton's single directorial feature from the mid-50s, one of my very favorite movies and probably iconic, Mitchum's most iconic role now, despite the fact that it was a tremendous failure at the time.
Yeah, definitely Charles Laughton's best movie.
Also the worst movie, though.
Yeah.
So Mitchum apparently wanted to meet some real Irish gangsters in Boston, and Higgins would not introduce him to the criminal element. So he actually hooked up through Alex Rocco, the actor. You might know him from The Godfather because he was also in that.
I sent you that clip from that Detroit 9000 the other day where he slapped a guy 5 times. Pretty awesome.
Well, Alex Rocco was born Alexander Petrucone Jr., and he was part of the Winter Hill Gang, which was, and he was held for questioning in Boston because somebody got hit, and then that started off the Boston Irish Gang War in the 60s. And so Rocco left Boston for LA to become an actor to escape all that.
God damn.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, he's a unique presence there in films of that era.
And that's the gang that's in the movie, right? The Winter Hill Gang? So he's like playing a member of the gang he was in?
Is that true?
I don't know. You came with us for the Rocco lore.
I've only seen the movie once. I'm going to defer to Ryan, who didn't remember how it ended.
No, my apologies. I had recently watched The Departed, and that's about the Winter Hill Gang, which was active at the time Eddie Coyle took place, but was a different part of town.
I see.
Yeah. So the director of Eddie Coyle is a pretty interesting fella, Peter Yates, who his famous quote, "Think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say my glory was that I had such friends." Oh, that's William Butler Yeats. Sorry. So Yates was a classic journeyman.
He's wearing his hat backwards. He's wearing his cowboy hat backwards again.
No, it was a Yates quote about friends. Come on, it was too good.
Oh, that's
Shut up.
Okay, I see.
He was a classic journeyman director. I think some people might refer to these guys as hacks, but I don't refer to it in a bad way. But guys at the studios could depend upon to do a variety of genres and work with a variety of actors and tones and consistently make the product that they're expecting. He had a great decade of the 70s. Well, actually starting in 68 with Bullitt. Woo! The Steve McQueen classic with one of the early great car chases. And he did the Hot Rock, Thomas, which is based on a book by Donald Westlake. Yeah. Friends of Eddie Coyle. And then after that, he made a social, not I want to say social, but a low-key comedy called For Pete's Sake with Barbra Streisand. This was right after the Friends of Eddie Coyle. It is very jarring. I watched it right after I watched Eddie Coyle. And it's hard to believe it's the same guy that directed it because Eddie Coyle seems so steeped in the world that the characters are in that to go to like a movie with Barbra Streisand and a guy in a kind of a comedy of manners on stages was quite jarring. He also made The Deep, the Peter Benchley adaptation with Nick Nolte and Jacqueline Bisset, which is, about people getting ships underwater. Big underwater adventure. And he made Krull, of course, in 1983. Other than Bullitt and Eddie Coyle, probably Breaking Away in 79 is his most fondly remembered movie. Which, if you haven't seen Breaking Away, it is a great movie. Yates has enough in his filmography that we could have done him in a 4x4.
Yeah,
because he does go from the 60s to like the 2000s, and obviously his movies get a little worse. But he doesn't really have a distinctive style. In an interview, he was kind of saying he supposes it was about underdogs and whatnot. But from my sample size, I also watched the first 30 minutes of Krull. Totally awesome. Yeah, no distinct style, but very professional. And I don't think he ever got in the way of the productions. And that's something we don't see very more in directors. People who can just come in and shoot a movie of any genre with big stars or no stars, and they're all of a piece.
Yeah, I feel one of the things I thought watching this movie is to the extent that we get stories like this, it's on, it's a streaming show or it's a released movie, a VOD movie.
Yeah, it feels like a modern director would try to put too much of their own style in it, and they would turn like the robberies into like cool set pieces and whatnot, or they would do like a single shot of them getting in the car and then driving until they get shot. They would do things that kind of take over the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there was an article a few years ago in The Ringer called "In Defense of Hacks." And I think about it all the time, as hacks are not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
And I think the modern one that they mentioned was John Turteltaub, the guy who made like the National Treasure movies with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, yeah.
And Yates, definitely a solid journeyman director who didn't really have a distinctive style, and that was kind of a throwback to an earlier era.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who doesn't like the way the auteur theory has impacted filmmaking over the last several decades, this is the kind of guy, this is the guy where we're missing that made Hollywood work to the extent that it did. And it's because he is so anonymous that we don't get guys like this anymore. Because to your point, Ken, if you're going to do, I love The Departed, and I think The Departed and so many Boston crime movies would not exist or have any really context without Friends of Eddie Coyle and perhaps the writings of this author, generally speaking. But that's like, The Departed, you have Scorsese, and then you have Infernal Affairs and that whole plot line laid over it. Or Mystic River, you have this kind of stuff, but you have the child molestation and sexual assault stuff laid over it. You always, if you do this kind of movie now, to your point, Ken, you got to plus it up with something that's going to really make it sing and be Academy Award eligible and shit.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna credit Paul Revere and his ride, because without him, there might not be a Boston as we know it today.
Shout out Paul Revere. Yeah, in this movie, it really does work. This is a great movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, probably, actually. After
God damn it, we're not at the reactions.
And we're 33 minutes
Come
in.
on.
Come on.
We're gonna milk this one.
But it does work. It does really work, and it is, to your point about style not really getting in the way. It's just these things play out. Like the bank robberies are just very quiet and very dour, and the whole thing of knowing where Eddie Coyle is going to end up, but not wanting him to end up there is just this slow downward spiral. It's probably one of the more quiet crime movies. I would almost call it like unexciting.
Yeah.
Like they add a little bit, like in the book when they arrest Jackie Brown, he's just sleeping in his car and they just kind of knock on the window and pull him out. But in the movie, there's kind of a short little car chase there. But yeah, there isn't really much of any sort of action or anything. And I don't say unexciting as a criticism. I think that's why it works, because this all seems like, watching it, you could be like, oh yeah, this probably is how all this shit went down in the early 70s in real life.
Yeah. To the point about the Boston noir movies, one of the things that I realized watching Eddie Coyle was, unlike any other kind of mafia movie that I've been able to think of since I had this thought originally, the Boston mob, the Boston criminals, they don't have any upper class aspirations. Nobody is trying to better their situation and get the fuck out of Southie or Winter Hill or wherever these people are. They just want to be in charge of the neighborhood. That's the highest these guys can dream. Even Nicholson in The Departed is like the most powerful crime guy in the city, and he doesn't want anything but to like do blow and hang out with hookers in his neighborhood, The Godfather, The Sopranos, Goodfellas, like all the other mafia stories, the guys want to be big and powerful and they want to move away. And they want to
go legit.
Yeah. And eventually they want to go legit and have to stop fucking with all this. And these Boston guys, they're just trying to make rent and they can't imagine living in a fancy house, Part of Eddie Coyle's problem is simply a lack of imagination.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to bring up the Kennedy family, but they were some gangsters, and they did kind of go pretty high up in the ranks of the world.
And they moved to
Reasonably
Nantucket.
legit.
Well, I just finished watching The Sopranos actually for the first time, and one of the things that I really love about that show is that all these guys are constantly risking their lives and the lives of their families and doing all this insane shit, getting shot at, risking not knowing if their best friend is going to kill them or not, just basically for an upper middle class living that they could achieve by working a normal job. And the character Eyebrows, the eyebrow guy in Eddie Coyle, what was his name? You were just talking about him, the gangster.
Peter Boyle.
No. The Rocco. Alex Rocco. Yeah, he is risking life in prison for living in a trailer park? I mean, he could do that working a normal job, just putting in a normal hard day's work. And it's ridiculous why anyone would do that.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had this thought, I mean, back when I worked for an electrical firm, about like copper thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Like they will cut open one of our bins and pull out this like kind of like, I don't know, Mission Impossible heist for a few $100s. It's almost like it takes more effort to be a criminal than it does to be straight.
Yeah.
Well, even like the homeless people, we live across the river from Portland, Vancouver, and in Portland you have deposits on cans and bottles. So you can get a bunch here and go over the bridge. But I see people on their bikes with these enormous garbage bags full of cans riding their bike across the interstate bridge, and then they're going to go to the return center. And those people going through and getting all that stuff, they work harder than I do, working 40 hours a week at a fairly physical job.
Yeah.
It's really hard work for $30 or $40 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's things that, and maybe this goes to just the sorting that happens to put people into a criminal class. Where, because what's great about this, I think we touch on it, but maybe didn't articulate it, is that it's not glamorizing the criminal lifestyle.
Maybe that's the thing. Yeah.
Nor is it like necessarily condemning it or showing it in a manner that is shown as like sordid and bad. Like one of the changes from the book to the movie is that Eddie Coyle kind of likes his wife and wants to get it on with her at some point, which doesn't quite happen in the book. But that's a tonality that seems to be missing from a lot of gangster films and movies about gangs, where there's a certain glamorization of what's occurring, which is definitely not the case in the book and the movie.
Yeah.
But what happens is, you go to jail and then maybe you can't get the job that you wanted to get on the out, right? Mm-hmm. Or you've started off somewhat in as a teenager and you can't quite get out as an adult. You could, I guess, leave and go become an actor in Hollywood. But it complicates things as life goes on.
Well, it's the Goodfellas thing where when you're young and whatnot, it's the juice, it's the excitement, and how easy it is to get this money. And by the time you reach your 30s and 40s, it's just like this huge weight because, like Thomas said, you go to jail a couple times, and it's kind of all you can do. You kind of winnow away all your life choices into it. And this seems like a movie long after all the excitement and the juice of being a teenager in crime has died away.
Yeah, and of note, too, is that in Boston, as reflected by some of the Lehane novels and other things, these neighborhoods in Boston are kind of unique amongst European background neighborhoods in America, or white neighborhoods, in that they are really endemic to poverty and low education and high crime. You know, the town, which is set in this part of Boston, famously starts that this is like the square mile of the world that has the most bank robberies or whatever. Like a lot of the myth around Southie is at least somewhat true. And so, to your guys' point, these are people who were raised in an environment where their parents do crime, and that's probably what they learned to do, and then that's what their kids end up doing. You know, it's like I said, it can be endemic in this part of the country.
Wow.
To continue with the hack conversation, some other contributors to the film, you have Paul Monash doing the adaptation, which is a few changes that we'll talk about maybe here in a few minutes that are interesting to think about. But he would also adapt Salem's Lot, directed by Toby Hooper in 1979, and All Quiet on the Western Front, which has Ernest Borgnine in it, also in 1979. But he was mainly a TV writer, doing a lot of Peyton's Place and television over the years. The Linzer for it, though, Victor Kemper.
Oh, yeah.
Am I stealing any of your thunder, Ken or Jack?
No, go for it.
No, go for it. Yeah, this is a great looking movie.
It's a good looking movie. I only have like one contributor to the movie that I want to put on blast. But yeah, it looks great. This is the same guy who shot Dog Day Afternoon, one of my favorites, right?
And Magic,
absolutely. Mikey and Nikki, the Elaine May film. And then I watched this for the first time last night. Slapshot, a very confusing film.
You've never seen Slapshot?
I never saw Slapshot before.
Wow.
And so I was doing some George Roy Hill films and decided to finally put that on.
I'm jealous. Got to see it for the first time. Wow. I'm a big Slapshot fan. Slapshot, Bad News Bears, and The Longest Yard. Those are the Mount Rushmore sports movies for Ken.
Yeah.
They're all depressing. I don't think the team wins in any of them.
Oh, wait. So he also did FX2.
Wow.
He shot FX2.
FX2?
Yeah.
Huh.
As well. Not the first
one. FX2 as well.
So, Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan.
You have never read the book, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've seen the movie multiple times.
Yes.
I want to know your thoughts on how the gang got caught in that house in Lynn, or wherever they say it is, who ratted them out.
Peter Boyle did, but one of the tricky things about the movie, and I don't know if it's intentional on Yates' part, I was going to ask if it was in the book. Some of Coyle and Dylan, Peter Boyle's character, some of their most important conversations, particularly with the cops, seem to happen off screen. So we are kind of trying to figure out, and maybe that's an attempt to convey what you guys talked about in the book, where you're kind of trying to piece together what's going on as it's happening. But yeah, I only figured out by the end that
Peter Boyle's Dylan did. Eddie's the guy that's going away for that thing up in New Hampshire. And everybody's like, well, he makes for a perfect fall guy. He's going away anyway.
Yeah. As soon.
But you're right. I think a lot of that does happen off screen, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the movie that I can't really figure out is if it was supposed to be left ambiguous, if you were supposed to think it was Dylan, if you were supposed to not even think about it. But that's one of the most important things that's cut from the book. There is a chapter where, what's her name? Wanda? Yeah, Wanda eyebrows' girlfriend at the trailer park. In the book, when Eddie Coyle shows up there, she gets a little smart and she gets in a fight with Eyebrows, and I think he slaps her around a little bit, or they just get into a verbal spat. And later on, there's a chapter where she's a stewardess. She's at the airport, and there's a U.S. Marshal that likes eating lunch at the airport, and she knows him, and she's kind of friends with him. And so she has a conversation where she sort of tells him without really telling him. It's that classic doublespeak that they're always using about the robbery that's going to happen.
Yeah,
and she overhears it, and that is completely cut from the movie, and I can kind of understand why it leaves it a little more ambiguous.
Well, it changes things interestingly, right? Because the stew, as they call for short, because steward's too hard to say, I guess. The stew, Wanda, she gets upset because you get a little bit of this in the movie, but
they mention the stew. They do mention the stew. Isn't that in the last scene? Because you had the subtitles on, you're watching it. I thought they were talking about someone else because I didn't know she was a stewardess. But okay, now it all makes sense.
Interesting.
They do mention the stew, and I didn't know what they were referring to. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so the Rocco character is saying, Scalise is just talking about how much she likes sex and how he's shacking up with her. And she gets really upset. She says something like, I told you to go and fuck yourself, talking about me like that. how would you like if I started telling the girl at the store about your prick and what you like to do with me with it? With me, the things like you like to do with me, would you like that? So there's a little bit repetitive in the dialogue, like a Mamet, but yeah, she gets really upset because he's talking about them in the sack with Eddie Coyle, and she overhears it, and so she gets upset, and things don't seem to be great between them necessarily, and so yeah, she, as a concerned citizen, talks to the marshal,
who likes having his lunch at the airport.
Yes.
Airports were a little different back then for you Zoomers.
Yeah, they had like dirigibles or something, right?
Sure.
Zeppelins. Yeah, and so what that does is it changes and it makes it so that the bartender decides to have Coyle as the fall guy and gets paid to kill him. Both.
Yeah.
So he knows that he's not guilty.
Yeah.
When he goes to kill him. In the book, he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And in the book, he's just being paid to hit him. And so he's upset that Coyle comes in that last act and is like, oh man, I'm really upset that this guy got nabbed. And so there's an increased duplicity by the bartender. The other thing, and I guess this is the question, it's a big difference between the book and the movie. Why is Jackie Brown in it? And we say Jackie Brown, this is a white dude, gun smuggler. So why is Jackie Brown in the film at all?
Interesting.
What do you mean, why is he in the movie at all?
What does he contribute?
He's the entryway for Eddie and the whole plot to start spinning. Because Eddie's getting the guns for Rocco.
But what does his arrest change of anything?
Well, he's kind of the main character of the book. The book starts out with him and ends with him, and most of the chapters are focused on him.
So Jackie Brown in the book,
a protagonist in this one too.
But he doesn't contribute anything to the plot necessarily. Like you could cut his character out and just have Eddie delivering guns, and it wouldn't change anything.
It's important. It's so important thematically, though, because it shows how, like, the class dynamics that are going on here and how these lower level guys are trapped. You know.
Yeah, because he's kind of the younger version of Eddie Coyle. He's what Eddie Coyle might have been when he was younger.
Still got the juice.
He's trying to get down south. You know, he thinks he's got the plan that Coyle didn't have to go to Florida early.
Yeah, he's the one talking about his car with the other guys, and
and that actor is really great. That's Stephen Keats, but he wasn't really in all that much. I guess he was in a lot of movies, but not.
I recognize him from stuff, but I don't know where.
No, you're thinking of Mr. Show.
David Cross?
David Cross is wearing a wig.
Yes. Uncanny.
But yeah, he's got the best fits in this movie. He has the coolest jackets and awesome just bell-bottom jeans. And yeah, he's got a really interesting face. He's got like gap tooth and stuff.
So I think one of the greatest things about this film are the faces, and one of the worst things about this movie is the scoring. But to finish out the Jackie Brown thing, the book ends because the bartender isn't the snitch for Eddie Coyle, or he's just the assassin. He is still talking to the cops or whatever. But the book ends with Jackie Brown trying to get a plea deal to get off the gun charges.
Yeah.
And the two attorneys are talking to each other, and it's just another day at the office. And so he really is becoming another Eddie Coyle because he is trying to work and also sell information to lessen his charge.
Yeah, I see why they didn't end the movie with this, because the end of the book is two characters who you've never seen before having a conversation.
That would have been incredible, though.
But I kind of wish that they had kept it in, because the ending of the book is so amazing. One of them says, "Is there any end to this shit? Does anything ever change in this racket?" And the prosecutor says, "Of course it changes. Don't take it so hard. Some of us die. The rest of us get older. New guys come along. Old guys disappear. It changes every day. It's hard to notice, though," Clark said. "It is," the prosecutor said. "It certainly is."
The end.
Woo.
The end.
I'm glad you brought up the score, Thomas, because Dave Grusin has been one of my least favorite composers. I may have gone on a rant on one of our couple hundred episodes about one of his scores, I believe, at some point. But it is very basic and feels almost like a TV show.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
the score.
I think
it's great.
I think the movie and then some of the early opening shots, made me feel like this was a television movie.
Huh. I thought I didn't particularly care for the score, but it did everything about this reminded me of the taking of Pelham 123, which happens the next year, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's also a great one.
Yeah. Yeah, not a fan of the score. I do think, like Jack, though, are we ready for reactions 52 minutes in? We're talking an hour. I really liked this the first time I saw it, but the second time, it really coalesced for me. It's like one of my all-time favorite movies now.
Wow.
I was just so enraptured the entire time with the performances and the world that they were portraying. And I am a huge fan of depressing movies, of movies where there's no way out at the end. It just feels so good to me for some reason. This movie gave me that that thrill you get when you watch a movie that really transports you.
Yeah, I agree. I would say I have the same thought about this movie as I do Fat City, which we also covered earlier in this podcast, which is that it's a great movie. It's one of my all-time favorites, but it doesn't come close to the book. The book for me, I would say, is like one of the top 10 most seminal works of literature I've ever read. It really kind of changed my perspective on writing a lot.
Got a lot of seminal fluid in it.
Oh my gosh.
Is it have you, I assume maybe one of you guys have read Cormac McCarthy? When it's dialogue heavy, is it like that where it's like
Don't bring up Cormac McCarthy.
Okay, well, this episode's going to go on 3 hours now once Jack starts talking about McCarthy.
Sort of. I would say McCarthy is definitely. Well, it depends because when he gets into prose, he really goes for it.
Yeah.
Even when it's just a little. And with George V. Higgins, when he does prose, it's because he has to. It's just saying very simply exactly what is happening. And McCarthy really goes for the jugular stylistically.
I guess I was thinking in some McCarthy books, there will be conversations that go on for a couple of pages where you don't even necessarily know who's talking, but it's just kind of telling you what generally is happening in the world.
Well, the last McCarthy book is all dialogue.
I haven't
didn't
read
even
that.
bother with prose.
Just ditched it.
But I think the other difference is that, there's a lack of heightening or intensity in the Eddie Coyle books, where he's like one of the things I got upset that they kind of cut is that it isn't a little bit more like a Tarantino rant, where they talk about food a lot more in the book, right? So I wanted to hear about how shitty the cheese sandwich is and how they make it, which one of the guys would just talk about, like like I said, like if this is somebody, a lot of the characters in the book, if you got up and excused yourself to the restroom and they didn't see that, they just keep talking. It's just verbal diarrhea.
And maybe actual diarrhea after beer and hot dogs at the Bruins game.
I was surprised that they actually shot a Bruins game, which is great because it gave a little bit of practice to our Linzer to be able to shoot some decent hockey and slap shot.
Was that actually Bobby Orr on screen, or was that? Does anyone know?
So.
I asked you if it was the Orr original,
a stunt Orr.
That's another thing that's pretty amazing about this is it was written when Bobby Orr was like a super hot hockey player with a career in front of him, and I don't know if George V. Higgins somehow predicted that his career would sort of tank and he would retire early. I don't know how that all worked out, but it's pretty amazing in hindsight. And that's the Bruins game.
Wait. Can we go into our or did he corner and talk about the hockey player for a little while?
The Bruins game is, I think, the scene that makes this movie work. It's one of my favorite scenes in anything. It's just remarkable. Him saying, "Number 4, Bobby Orr, what a future that kid's got," and then the hockey players beating the shit out of each other and the crowd cheering and the close-ups of the people and just how excited they are watching these guys beat the shit out of each other. It's really harrowing.
And I don't know what's happened. I don't know if we've just all become I don't know if it's who chose up to be extras these days, or if we just have like this homogenized face.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
they had some real fucking faces in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's besides the authenticity of the dialogue. The thing that makes this movie work is, back then they all looked like real people. Like
Yeah.
Peter Boyle. You don't see a Peter Boyle in a movie anymore.
Weird looking dude.
Yeah. They cast, what's his name, and put a bald cap on him. It's ridiculous.
Wait, who?
Who was the guy in...
What's his name? Oh, yeah, that guy.
The guy...
Let me go on IMDb for him.
Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pisses me off. Cast a guy who's actually balding.
Yeah. Representation.
Pisses me off.
Yeah, you do get actors today like John Carroll Lynch from Zodiac and such, but they don't get these kind of big roles anymore.
Yeah. Casting for backgrounds is an art that's easy to lose. I think because so many people want to be in movies, and like Thomas is saying, they have a homogenized look, and it takes someone with a special eye to
and we've really
to fill out the frame.
I mean, in my opinion, the story of cinema since the 80s is just an increasing detachment from any reality,
Yeah.
And yet they get more and more obsessed with verisimilitude because they know that all of the actors in their movies have $100,000 personal trainers and $10,000 teeth,
Yep.
So I have a question. You guys read up a little bit on the background of the book.
Uh-huh.
And did you come across the Peanuts connection?
Oh, yeah. We haven't gotten to the weirdest bit of lore about this movie.
And the book.
Yeah.
So when the book came out in 1970, it was a huge deal for Jack and Thomas. It's like right now, like everybody talks about White Lotus and Severance.
Uh-huh.
But back in 1970, they would talk about books the same way.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Wait,
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
who would talk about it? Like people to other people?
Yeah.
Calling long
Like-
distance?
No,
On
in
rotary
person.
phones?
In person. So one huge fan of the book was Charles Schultz, the guy who made Peanuts.
Wow.
And hilariously, he did a bit for 2 or 3 weeks in 1971, where it was kind of a riff on the Friends of Eddie Coyle, where Charlie Brown had to get eggs for the Easter egg hunt at his school. And like Snoopy was like in a trench coat and would be the one that was going to get it for him. Lucy kind of played the Peter Boyle character. And it was a goof, and everybody knew it was a goof. But then when the movie was going to be made, they decided to turn it into an animated special. They changed the name to Get Your Eggs, Charlie Brown, and it was going to be like an Easter because they hadn't done Easter at that time. Yeah, Peppermint Patty was in it. Get the Eggs. Oh, Bill Melendez, who directed all of the Charlie Browns, and Lee Mendelsohn, the executive producer, and Vince Guardi. They all
Ryan, have
started
you seen
with
this? This is what you were texting me, right, kid?
Yeah. So the
No, I haven't
crazy
seen
thing is they were going to have it ready for Easter of '73, and they decided. And the movie was coming out, and they still thought the movie was going to be big, like The Godfather. Obviously, it wasn't. So Mendelsohn had the worst idea ever. He had Robert Mitchum come in and do the vocal track for Charlie Brown's character. It was going to be like a goof. And Schultz and Guardi and the director, they all thought it was hilarious. But Mendelsohn brought his daughter into the studio to show it to her, and she started crying. And she ran out of the screening room. Security had to get her, whatever. And she said that you ruined Charlie Brown. So Mendelsohn was like, "Oh well, shit. No one can ever see this." So he had the regular person come in. What's his name? Peter Robbins, who did all the Charlie Brown voices, came in and did it. It came out around Easter time, and you got to be kidding me! God, I
This
waited
is
an
all for
hour
his
to get to
benefit.
it.
this.
What happened?
Well,
What?
go ahead and tell that last bit.
I was listening to you guys. I had my AirPods in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I heard all that. I'm sorry.
So anyway, they changed it. It came out Easter. It did okay. It ran for 3 years around Easter, but it eventually got pulled because there's a scene where Snoopy and Woodstock go to this was in the comic strip, Farmer Higgins, as and steal the eggs. And they thought that it was promoting theft for the kids. So it only aired 3 times. But the premiere night, no one had told Robert Mitchum that they replaced his voice. So he had his whole family over, kids, grandkids, friends, and whatever. And he was so upset. He kicked his TV, drove to Mendelssohn's house in Pasadena, and pounded on his door until he opened it, and berated him and yelled at him and screamed at him for ruining his Easter Sunday with his family. Mendelssohn's girl, his little girl who started all of this, came in and she was crying and she pointed at Mitchum. She said, "You're the bad Charlie Brown. You're the bad Charlie Brown. Get out." And Mitchum turned away and walked out, and he was never seen or heard from again.
I imagine him playing that piano music with his head
Yes.
down.
Do do do. So that's the craziest thing that happened.
I gotta
Friends
see
of
that.
Charlie
I
Brown.
love this.
Yeah, the pals of Charlie Brown. Get your eggs, Charlie Brown.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
Yeah, you got to hunt that down on YouTube. Right?
Have you seen this, Ken?
Have I seen it? No, it's on the Internet Archive though.
Okay. Yes, I'm definitely going to check that out. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Cool.
We post that on our social media as well.
Yeah.
If I can find one of it, I certainly will.
Oh, I was glad to see James Tolkien in this, who's the principal in Masters of the Universe, if I remember right, or the cop. No, he's the cop in the Masters of the Universe. He's a principal, and maybe what movie
Ferris Bueller?
Is it Ferris Bueller?
No, it's not Ferris Bueller. He's Back to the Future.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and he's also, I guess, in Dick Tracy. He's the accountant to Pacino. In that,
I've always liked him. He has like a weird little guy, wiry energy about him. Yeah, I always like when he pops up. The man with the hat.
Yeah.
Jack,
backwards.
thank you. Backwards hat. Thank you for picking the Friends of Eddie Coyle. That was God, I love that movie so much.
It was really great revisiting it and reading the book again. This is fun doing these one by ones. It was either this or The Gambler with James Caan. So
not Kenny
also
Rogers.
shot by the same Linzer.
shot by the same guy. Yeah.
There is a scene at the end of this movie where he meets the what's the guy's name? The law guy who's kind of got everybody.
The cop. Yeah.
Cop. Where they're in that bar and he's like, he can give him the gang, and he's like, that would have been great yesterday, but too bad. And then the cop leaves and Mitchum's just sitting there. It's very painterly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The drab kind of early 70s color and Mitchum's face as a freeze frame. What the most beautiful shot in the entire movie. For me, I love depressing stuff like that, and it just fills my heart with glee.
Another beautiful shot we get when the guy at the bank presses the alarm, and we get a couple good squibs there.
Yeah.
Shout out to some squibs.
Um,
Love a good squib.
Yeah, I think that Mitchum is able to, like, his character in this is very much, to me, like an archetype similar to Jack Lemmon and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, he could be on The Simpsons as a character.
I really, really love this movie. And I don't know why I didn't love it as much the first time. I think it's because between the book and the movie, it's that whole thing where you're kind of expecting one thing, and I don't know.
I'm glad I read the book
but
first. I think that the book is superior.
It's an amazing adaptation, though, given how much of it that they keep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very faithful.
Yeah,
It's not perfect, but
they
it's
just clean up a
faithful.
few things, like like the stewardess. I think it's a very interesting change for that ending, right?
Yeah.
So that
The stew.
the stewardess isn't. It seems a little bit more random in the book, which is more probably how life is. But
Yeah.
the idea that his friend the entire time, his friend in quotation marks, the entire time, the barkeep was willing to kill him to set him up for the fall, so he doesn't get pointed at, is really dark and fairly amazing.
And it makes it really interesting, too, when he's on the phone, when Eddie's in the bar, and he just has this little bit of venal, like, hatred in his voice when he's talking about Eddie. And he's really, it reminded me of Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards, how mad he was at the German actress character for flipping and selling them out, when in reality he was mad at himself because that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with the Dylan character.
Yeah.
And they also clean it up a little bit in that, like, Eddie like says that he has something for the cop and then waits. And because he waits, isn't able to give him the information.
Yeah.
And so he could have maybe had done something and gotten a deal, but because he waited, he doesn't. Or his original intel on selling the machine guns wasn't the 70s white radicals, but it was supposed to be some Panthers, some Black Panthers. Mm-hmm. And so there was a whole like chasing your tail, trying to figure out what that is by the cop for a while, because it's just bad intelligence. He thought it was because there is a dude with a fro. He thought that maybe it was Black radicals, but it's really just this whole other thing that's going on.
Huh.
And that's fascinating because in between the book and the movie, white radicals like the Symbionese Liberation Army and stuff were popping up. So having it be white radicals who are scaredy cats in the movie works because it's realistic that they'd be scared, but also they're kind of dangerous because these crazy hippies are around the country.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of them.
Yeah.
That whole weather underground and adjacent other kinds of weather. All kinds of weather. The big underground. Sunny weather underground, snowy weather underground, crisscross the entire country.
Indeed.
Well, I don't want this episode to end. You guys keep acting like we're about to wrap up. You know what this film had in common with our last film we covered? I know we're not doing that, but I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Both have Criterion Collection releases. This and Hedrick and the Angry Inch. Both are adaptations, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And both men discuss inches. Last week it was 1 inch. This week it's 2 and 4 inches. I wrote school buses. I know that Hedrick runs into one. Was there a school bus in this?
Yeah, his girls get on the school bus, don't they?
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Which we don't really get in the book at all, any of the rural family life. Oh, both are titled after the titular character, or the main character in it is part of the title.
Mm-hmm.
Both have buffets.
Yeah.
Both have trailer parks.
Mm-hmm.
And both have body modification of the protagonist with a marked forehead at the end.
And the knuckles.
Yeah, the body modification, and at the end of the movie, they have markings on their their forehead gets marked.
Jesus. Well done, Thomas. Yeah. Okay, so next week we are watching.
Is this paused to insert?
Yes.
Okay.
What do we have left?
Risky Business and Mystery Road.
Ooh.
Let's do risky business so we can end on a real bummer.
Yeah.
Cool. We did a pretty happy movie with Hedwig, and then a bummer with Eddie Coyle. We'll do another pretty.
Yeah.
We're doing Risky Business, which is an upper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of.
It's gonna be my first time watching it, so
it'll be my first time since 20 or 30 years before you were born, Thomas.
Wow.
I'm really excited to see what you guys think about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to do any research.
Okay, very good.
It's not based off of a book or a play or anything, is it?
Yeah, I think the next two are not adaptations. They're originals.
No, yes, the next one, this is also a one and done by the director, who, despite the fact that this movie, that Risky Business, was incredibly profitable and incredibly critically acclaimed, he lost Final Cut, and a few scenes are slightly different, and because of that, he's never made another movie.
He works at Boeing now?
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about that, but we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
When we do Risky Business. Just like Robert Mitchum, after the night Get Your Eggs Charlie Brown premiered, I'm going to turn this off and walk away and never be seen or heard from again.
Thanks to Ryan for the theme.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Squibs
and the socials
coming soon.
Uh-huh. And thank Ken for the editing.
Yeah, thank you, Ken.
Extensive, rigorous editing at times.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, you still weren't able to edit out whenever you were mean to me last episode, but
I feel really bad listening back to that. I tried so hard to edit around it, but it's just snide Ken. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah, well, this week you can edit out being mean to Ryan while he was taking a leak, which he heard over his headphones.
Keep it in and double it.
All right, guys.
Oh, I thought we were going to stick around and play Two Truths and a Lie.
I don't want to hear about you. I want to hear from you.
It's 10-4.
10-4, old buddies. Destroy. Kill all hippies.
I don't hate it. I just don't know why you're straight from the formula.
You bastards! You don't know it, Bob. I'm an artist. And I must reflect that in my rhyme.
Start using my eyeballs the old-fashioned way.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Shout out Paul Revere.
You're the bad Charlie Brown.
Letterbox is spying on you.